Did Braum really punch through a mountain? It really depends on who you ask. If you ask the average Freljordian, they would have a hard time looking at the 7-foot tall Iceborn and saying for sure that he couldn't do such a thing. If you went to the kids, I'm sure they would emphatically say yes. That's the most famous tale of Braum, where he punched through the mountain to save the baby troll. But if you asked Braum himself, despite how much he's known to talk, I think he would rather laugh and let you try to figure out the answer yourself. Fortunately for you, you have me, and we are going to answer that question definitively by reading into the bio of Braum, the heart of the Freljord. Even as a child, Braum was much larger than the other Freljordian youngsters, but his mother taught him to never use his size to intimidate or bully. She came from a proud line of herders, and believed true courage lay in using one's power not to dominate, but to protect those in need. The heart of the Freljord is his mother. When Braum was still a boy, ice giants devastated a tribe nearby. That tribe had long preyed upon the herds of Braum's people, but Braum's mother didn't hesitate to head out across the tundra to help the survivors, bearing furs, foodstuff, and healing supplies. At first, Braum didn't understand why. Why would she help her rivals? But after her actions saved many lives, they became lifelong allies. He finally understood what his mother meant when she said all the people of the Freljord were a family, and from that day forth, he pledged to bring that family together. As Braum grew, it was clear he was one of the revered Iceborn. Even among their number, his strength and ability to endure the elements were legendary. He became a local hero, rescuing children who had slipped into icy ravines, saving travelers stranded in blizzards, and protecting families from ravaging wildclaws. Whenever he appeared, people knew help had arrived. He was a figure of hope, known for his liveliness and laughter, and the easy way he made friends. Eventually, Braum realized he was needed beyond the valleys and the tundra where he had been raised. Bidding his mother a tearful farewell, he set out to travel the Freljord. Over the years, countless stories spread of Braum's mighty feats and good deeds. While most had at least a kernel of truth, they grew increasingly far-fetched and mythic, such as the legend of how he chopped down an entire forest in a single night, using only his bare hands, or how during a volcanic eruption, he saved an isolated farmstead by picking it up and moving it to higher ground. A more recent tale spoke of how Braum found his immense ram-headed shield. As the story went, it was an enchanted vault door, forged in ancient times, and set into a mountain. Braum heard cries from within, but he couldn't break the door down. Undeterred, he punched his way through the mountain's bare rock, rescuing a troll boy who was trapped inside. He ripped the unbreakable door off its hinges and has borne it ever since. But are these legends true? Well, as with many legends about him, Braum laughed uproariously when he first heard this particular tale, but far from refuting such stories, he embraces them. Why let the truth get in the way of inspiring others to acts of generosity and kindness? No matter how he actually found his shield, soon afterward Braum made his way to the sacred site of Racklestake, where many tribes had gathered to hear the words of the Avarosan War Mother, Ash, said to be the reincarnation of Avarosa herself. This site is visible on the interactive Runeterra map, right here. There he witnessed the barbarian Tryndamere, desperate to prove his worth, savagely beating any who would face him. As Braum watched, he saw that Tryndamere was growing increasingly unhinged. During one duel, he was so lost in his fury that it seemed certain he would kill his opponent, despite having already prevailed. Deciding things had gone far enough, Braum planted himself in front of the downed fighter, shield raised, and Tryndamere hacked and slashed against the impenetrable bulwark. When the barbarian's rage finally subsided, Braum's good humor won him over, and before long the pair were laughing and drinking to each other's health. Some say that it was Braum himself who first introduced Tryndamere to Ash. The barbarian would later marry her, becoming her only bloodsworn. Braum is responsible for the new Freljordian royal family. Maybe. That's just who Braum is, and it echoes why he doesn't hold any particular tribal allegiance, for he views all within the Freljord as brothers and sisters. Even so, he sees in Ash someone who can end the centuries-old feuding among the tribes of the Freljord, and the Avarosans have informally adopted him into their number, because Braum has that same dream. Braum's dream, as he often tells adoring children, is that someday the Freljord will stand united in one big family, and then he can retire to become a humble Poro herder. Though Braum counts no one as his enemy, he has had a few run-ins with the Frostguard since he started carrying his shield. He doesn't understand why they have a grudge against him, nor why they seem so interested in what he now bears. That's the end of Braum's bio. I think it should have ended in a more inspirational way, instead of just bringing up Lysandra and the Frostguard for no reason and hinting at a grudge. But it does bring more world building into his lore. Let's answer the questions in his bio. Starting off with, why do the Frostguard, Lysandra's faction, want Braum hurt or dead? There are a few possible reasons. To start, Lysandra has spent thousands of years collecting powerful Iceborn and sealing them away. Why? It's because when the time comes to refreeze the Void Watchers, she will need to siphon off as much true ice related magic that she can find. If you don't know Lysandra lore yet, we will get to it later. Just understand that extremely powerful world-ending creatures from the Void are breaking free, and Lysandra can steal magic of others to make herself strong enough to slow them down. Another reason Lysandra would want to get rid of Braum would be because he's a rallying cry across the Freljord. Even that shield being a symbol of the old gods is a major problem to Lysandra's power over the people. She can't have them worshipping old gods more than they worship her or the three sisters. Furthermore, the more the Freljord is united, the bigger the risk they start to question the mysterious third sister and her frost priests. The frost priesthood of Lysandra whisper into the ears of war mothers to work against their efforts to unite. They really hate that Ash is using the memory of Avarosa to unite the Freljord. It's one of their main goals. They are the ones that killed her mother, but again, that is another story. Where did Braum's door come from? You probably heard it comes from Ornn, and all the evidence points to that being the case. There was a tale of Ornn losing a wager to a troll, and now Ornn owed the troll a door that would keep his treasure safe forever. But in this wager, the troll cheated, and Ornn was not too happy at this fact. So while he made sure the treasure within would be safe, he made it so the troll himself could not open the door. The door was near invincible, but listen to how it was described. So Ornn labored for 10 days and built the single best door anyone had ever built. He adorned it with a ram's head, like his own, and the one at the heart of the Freljord. Heart of the Freljord? Ram's head? Does that sound familiar? But how did Braum get the door? I genuinely believe that over time the mountain around the door gave away on its own, and Braum came across the door standing alone on a mountainside. Ornn himself said to the troll, "You told me to build a door that would keep your treasure safe from thieves forever, and I did. This door will stand longer than the mountain it is on. No one can break it." That's the door. Now, as far as the punching through mountains story and the chopping down trees story and the volcano story, are they true? By his own narration, no. They didn't actually happen. There are other stories like the Wildclaw stories that are very much able to be true. We see that happening in the Song of Nunu game. So it's not like Braum just goes around lying or letting lies go around themselves. He still is that hero, but they just grow out of control, kind of like a snowball. He isn't some mythical being. Yes, he is large for an Iceborn, who themselves are extraordinarily powerful and buffed in the cold, but that doesn't mean he could actually do those crazy feats. None of my logic could ever stop him from being an inspiration. He has been that heroic inspiration for many years, and across many campaigns to save the world, or just save the children of the Freljord from a strange sickness. The thing about the heart is that it lies in the center of a being. It's always warm, and it brings life to the larger whole. The heart is the strongest muscle by endurance. You will never see Braum tire for long, because his dream for a united Freljord is one far off in the distance, and there is no time for the big man, for the hero, to rest. That is an introduction to Braum and his bio. I'm not sure who will be done next, but I know there are other bios waiting for you to watch, and more stories to come, so stick around.